Hello, this is Becca and welcome. In today's video, I will be showing what I have chosen to do with the third prompt, which is favorite fabric from the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 8 project that we're all working on. And I'm keeping just what I'm working on right now in this little basket, which is kind of handy because I can go outside or wherever I'd like and stitch. And I'm just tucking a few of the things that I'll be using for the current blocks. And this little cup, which I love, this is my mom's. This is, gosh, this has got to be back from the 50s or before. I don't know. I have a sugar bowl and creamer that also go with it, but I love it because it makes me think of her, and it's nice to keep my little threads that I'm working on. But this is very handy for me to take wherever I'm stitching. So I think I had mentioned in the last couple of videos that I have chosen to work on a canvas size that is smaller, not this very large piece, but smaller little canvases to put my prompts on and compose a design. So this is the size little canvas that I'm working on. So just going back to the last prompt, number 2, which was something thrifted, I had chosen for this block and this block to add a little piece of a hanky to that. And let's see, I think I have, yes, this is that hanky, and it's just so pretty, so delicate and beautiful. I really love it. Let's see, which is the right side? I think this is the right side. But luckily it had 4 corners that were embroidered with this little flower design and cut open spaces. So that was nice. I have one left that I can use. So I put that on this little canvas piece, and this had the doily and then the fabric under it. This is a hanky, and I used also this hanky as the thrifted item, and I decided to use it on the same block, like a mirror image block. I decided to use that, a little thrifted hanky for that. So those 2 blocks are maybe not done. I did leave this open here so that I could slip something else in for both of them. So that's them. And for the favorite fabric, I'm sure that we all, as fabric lovers, have so many fabrics that are our favorites. But luckily for me, this little quilt that I'm making will have a very vintage look, and so I wanted to use fabrics that went along with that kind of an image. And so I chose this fabric, which is one of my favorites. This is a Beatrix Potter fabric, and it's kind of like a toile, I would say, you could call it. It's reminiscent of a toile to me, and I just love this fabric. I thought this was so beautiful, and Beatrix Potter's stories were written, I think, in the early 1900s, so this kind of goes along with that vintage feel that I was going for. So I chose to put that piece of fabric on here, and this was prompt number 1, doily, and I added a hanky to that. Excuse me. And then the thrifted item is this, and this is also a portion of a hanky, portion of this hanky. And I tucked this fabric under both of these. I left these not sewn down, these edges, so I was able to tuck this little piece. And this has it's a little picture of Peter Rabbit here, and I think probably Benjamin Bunny up here in Farmer McGregor's garden. So I just loved this fabric. And these fabrics of this little piece, let's see if I can find, this is maybe a better, this will be cut off here. They'll be sewn together, so you won't see this out here. You'll just see this little edge. The block will end here, and the block will end there as well. So if you can picture what's inside the blue line is what will be seen when the blocks are sewn together. So this is one of the favorite fabrics that I've chosen. And I did add 2 little hexies to this, just picking up the colors in this flower, this cross-stitched flower here. I thought that that would be pretty. And I could picture Beatrix Potter or Mrs. Rabbit putting on a little teapot of tea for all the little bunnies. And the second fabric that I chose a few. I chose a couple. I kind of ran with this, and I had the same fabric in blue. Again, this is, to me, makes me think of a toile fabric. Try to show some of these little images here, which are so precious. I just love them. So that was the second fabric that I chose, and thought, again, it would be in keeping with that vintage fabric feel. And that is on this block here. Over here, I chose, again, Peter Rabbit, nibbling on some carrots that he shouldn't be touching. And so I just thought that that was, and of course this will be the edge of the block right here when it's sewn together. So I thought that was nice. Peter Rabbit makes an appearance here. And also, I think this block is finished. What I've done here is add some running stitches in a light blue silk thread on top of this very pretty hanky that I had shown in my last video. And then I had done some running stitches in pink on this 1930s reproduction fabrics and just wove through to kind of give it a little extra design there and tie in with this pink and this pink. And then up here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but excuse me, up here I did some seed stitching kind of around this little portion of a daisy. So, and again, some blue running stitch in silk. So I'm pretty sure that this block is done. I mean, I'm not sure what the other prompts will be. I mean, things could be added if we have buttons or whatever, but I think this is done. And I don't think I mentioned also on this little block, I also am considering this one done, and I had done some running stitches here in kind of a, well, I think it is ecru of the DMC pearl cotton, which tied in with this kind of ecru colored lace or edging on this doily. Pardon me. And then over here, got a little string or something, I think. And then over here, not sure if you can see it, but I did, again, some seed stitching on here. So this, with both of these, this will be my quilting, really, for these pieces. These little blocks will be, I would consider, quilted when they're in the whole quilt. This one I also did some seed stitching on in kind of a light lavender. This little flower here is lavender, and this is a silk thread. This is a chain stitch with a pink running stitch going through the seed stitch up here. Another portion of this napkin, which I've used several times. I love this napkin. I love a lot of these. They're just so delicate, sheer. But I did take some of this border from this napkin and put it down here for a little bit of interest. And this was part of the, I think, a dresser scarf that I had shown last week's video. And all I did here was some little pink X's or plus signs, again, to bring out some of the colors up here and to quilt this little piece. There's a running stitch here in blue silk and a stem stitch here. So I would consider these 2 blocks finished. Actually, these 3. I would consider those finished. And back to that napkin, I think, I'm not sure if I showed this in the last video. Sorry, allergies today. But I did put this hanky underneath this doily and the hexagons. I think I did show that last week, so that was the thrifted. And the last fabric that I chose for favorite, well, 2 here, I chose this one, which is kind of a toile again, I guess you might say, maybe not. But I loved this. This is Marcus Brothers, but it does, it's reminiscent of the 1930s, I would say 30s and 40s. So I loved all these little designs, and I almost used this one with the bunny. I almost used this one here, which I thought was so adorable. But then I opted for the flowers, the grouping of flowers, which is here, I guess. Let's see, we'll find that. Well, the pansies and these kind of star flowers. But anyway, so that was the other, one of the other fabrics that I chose. I chose 2 for this block, actually. The other one that I chose was this. This is another of my favorites, 1930s reproduction fabrics with these little clowns, and actually I think it's a little dog on there, like a little Scotty dog here, and the clowns. I love this. I don't know if it's the red polka dot or what, but and the reason that I chose this color was because this quilt will be surrounded by these vintage blocks, but there are reds in some of these fabrics, so I thought it would be nice. I'm trying to choose colors for these little canvases that will go with the blocks that are bordering. So there are reds in here, and so I thought I should include some red in my blocks. So this is the fabric that I chose from that red fabric. So I chose 3 favorite fabrics altogether. And I was, again, going to use the little girl with the bunny, and I decided on the flowers. Excuse me. And I may outline stitch these with a red pearl cotton or DMC. But I did a circle here, made it larger so that I could just kind of fit it in this corner here. And that circle is made out of this fabric, that red. So those were the 2 that I chose for this block. And I also made this little tiny yo-yo here, which I'm pretty sure that I will put on here. Now, whether it'll go here or here or here, I'm not quite sure. I've just pinned it on there for now. And again, my block will end here where this blue line is. It'll be sewn together. So what you will see will be inside the blue line. So this will be folded back, or in the seam allowance, this down here. You won't see that, and you won't see this side either. So it'll kind of look like that. So those were the fabrics that I chose. This one was a contender, which I absolutely love, 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 love. This is another 1930s reproduction fabric. Not sure if I have a name on a selvage here or not, but this one will definitely make an appearance in the quilt. Again, there are pinks in here. I probably won't totally match the pinks, but and these will also, now these are very contemporary fabrics, but I'm pretty sure that these will make an appearance in the quilt somehow, because I do have the blues in here. There are some blue blocks, so I think that it will be nice to have some of the darker blue, maybe even this may show up in the quilt. So that'll be kind of interesting. And these are, I think this is from the Denim and Daisies collection, which I absolutely love. Gee, I don't remember who it's, I think, oh, it's Fig Tree. It is Fig Tree, Denim and Daisies. And so this, I think, will make an appearance in this little, oh, bring this back in here. So I think this will make an appearance in the quilt somehow too. Now, because I have 3 blocks that are probably mostly finished, I'll put some of these blocks out so that you can kind of see them. I may put those 2 together. Let's see, let's bring you up a tiny bit. I may put those 2 together, and what I thought was kind of interesting was that this block has this same fabric from the doily there, and I could also put another one here with a piece of that fabric, which I have here. I mean, I could make a secondary design, but is that too much planning? I don't know. But I could do something like that, so that there was that kind of design going on. And of course we have these blues and the red. So, I mean, it will be kind of interesting to see where everything goes. And again, I mean, these could be changed. They could be turned around. I don't think it matters. There's nothing directional on that. It could be like that. And I could just leave this off and use it in another place, maybe here. Maybe that would speak to that right there. Who knows? I mean, I just think right now the possibilities are kind of endless. And also because, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I think 3 out of the 20 are finished. And of course, let's see, we have 20 prompts. So, I mean, it could work out that I still have 1 for each block. But I also have the sashing pieces, which I had shown before. And these pieces will go, these are the long strips that will go around. I'll move this so I don't lose it. Let's pin this back. Do I have the pin here? Oh, it disappeared. But this sashing strip, which is probably hard to see on this white table, but this will border these little vintage blocks. And inside the vintage blocks will be these. Are we still in? So, we'll have our blocks here. So they will be bordered by the vintage blocks, which will then in turn be bordered by this fabric here. And what I was thinking for that is some of the prompts may spill over onto this piece of fabric. But what I had done was I drew a design, the length of these strips. Oops, sorry, bumped the camera. This would be in the center of this long strip. And then if you can see the difference, this one has a lot more leaves on this side, and this has less leaves. And it's just the same, the mirror image. This on this side is the mirror image of this, but I like it better with less leaves. It looks more like that 1930s, 40s embroideries that you see. So I would put that on this strip and stitch this, and I think I will do with less leaves. I don't care for all these leaves on here, and this will probably be just little lazy daisy stitches. But I thought if some of the prompts do happen to end up on this sashing strip, I may have pieces of a doily that may show up on here, or maybe some fabric or some lace, or another doily, maybe more of a solid color doily. Let's see if I have them in here. Maybe something like this would show up on here. A piece of that might show up on this strip. So I could still have this vine peeking out from some of the elements that will end up on this sashing strip. So that's kind of my idea too, that if I do use all the prompts on these little canvases that I've created, these little guys, I can also let things, and even if it all works out, that all 20 prompts are on the 20 blocks or little rectangles, I can even let some things spill over onto these sashing strips. So I think that will be kind of an interesting concept. And again, I'll just be doing this with a stem stitch, my favorite stitch, and just very simple little lazy daisy stitches for the leaves, and same for the flowers, maybe, or maybe little straight stitch flowers, not quite sure yet. But that's kind of an idea that I had, so I thought I would share that. So right now, this is where I am with my favorite fabric showing up in these three little blocks right here, 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 and here. So thank you very much for joining me. I can come down again. I guess that might be better. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I'm wishing you many blessings. Bye for now.